of PS, PlayStation, and Nintendo. I'm not talking to myself, I swear. Hola community, welcome to BlenderToday Live. Today, I happen to have a guest here to talk about some of the new, well, you've probably seen it in the title of this video, something about Grease Pencil that's going to change the way you work. It's a game changer, although, yes, it's a game changer. It's a game changer, especially now with the lack of 2D animation tools that are out there. Grease Pencil developer Falk, welcome.
Hello.
So nice to have a guest.
First time on the stream.
First time?
First time on the stream.
Oh, welcome to BlenderToday. I do this every other day for the last 7 years, so every other week.
Yeah.
But at some point it was every week, 7 years. So we are here today. We're gonna talk about some of the. So you see you watch the show. I see you in the chat. Thank you, by the way. We go through everything that's new in Blender, but also we have some announcements from the community. So let's look quickly at that. If you're okay, if you have some time.
Of course.
First of all, is a it's something to be grateful for. We have a bunch of new sponsors from the last week. Although, I mean, people see it's something like Netflix Animation Studio, and the day before they see Dell, because it's not like they decided on the same day, people.
Yeah.
These things take months to discuss and get the text right, and this back and forth, and shall we use the logo and with the color or not. There's so much back and forth. So these things just sometimes they pile up. That's why both were announced at the same time. And now we just, like, in the last few minutes, 5 o'clock, that was Francesco tweeted and shared on all the social media that Arrowhead, the developers of Helldivers have joined the Blender Development Fund as well. So a game studio, a animation studio, and a Dell technology company,
Yeah.
making all kinds of stuff. But yeah, people were afraid of some AI news on them. But actually, they it's not related to that. You know that it's only donations, and it only with no strings attached, basically. That's why it's so hard to get Blender donations, because there's no strings attached. But also related to AI. Actually, they went back in a bunch of AI things they did in the past, and they brought back the XPS line. So I think they're theming themselves. And Netflix Animation Studio, people think it's just, oh, Netflix is evil, but this is Animation Studio. It's a actual production that is using Blender, so of course they want to have the software to be cool.
And it also didn't start with Netflix, right? Like, the animation studio is actually pretty separate from Netflix, as far as I understand. Like, the animation studio was sort of brought into Netflix. But
Oh.
yeah.
They didn't know the details, but but they see they see Netflix is like, oh no, and then they miss the part that it's an actual animation studio. So it's super cool to see studios actually supporting Blender. Big name, yes. Let's see. What else? There are projects to look forward in 2026. We have this blog post, which is a tradition already, that Ton started time ago, and then Dalai took over, and now this is his little diary on okay, what happened in 2025. We have 3 releases as usual, and then the new projects for well, not new, some of them are things we wanted to do last year, and then ongoing, but there is still all based in storytelling, so all the story tools which you may be aware of. World building, asset creation, so 3D brush, layer textures, like basically taking the survey results and putting them into projects that we can align and work on. NPR project, of course. Animation layers is a thing as well, related mostly to design, which we already had some discussions, and then turning it into actual development, but that wouldn't happen until the second half of the year. Q2 actually, even before. Lighting, rendering, and compositing. Like, we've seen layers, effects for entire scenes, cycles, texture cache.
It's a big one.
That's a big one.
Hopefully 5.2 maybe.
5.2, I heard, yeah. Collaborate, but today, by the way, there is some news in cycles today. Like fast,
okay.
it's just faster.
Spoiler.
But it's just faster. Collaboration, online assets is also another one that I was hoping it would make it to 5.1, but it's gonna be 5.2. It's gonna be great. Project setup also reaching initial milestone with some variables. There are new variables in 5.1, but more to come for project setup. Dynamic override. We had a whole day of design with Dalai last week on this.
Yep.
Super exciting for anything. Material overrides, collection overrides, view layer overrides, things that people in the community are asking for a long time. VR.
Studios as well.
Yeah, studios too. But there are also people in the community.
Yeah, it's all part of the community.
All part of the community. Vulkan, VR, interactivity, hair dynamics, geometry nodes, model node tools, Android support, well, iPad hopefully too, but so far Android is getting more relevance and is mentioned here because Wacom is one of the sponsors of the Patron sponsors. So there's no strings attached, but if you don't have to push forward some platform support, then it makes sense to align it with those because they have some nice tablets that you could use Blender with on the go. Next.
That would be something.
That would be something, yeah.
Grease pencil.
Blender Lab. Actually on the go. That would be awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
Storyboarding on the go.
Yeah.
Blender Lab is still a thing, and actually there is one project that might join the Blender Lab party, which is clay pencil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we also had a meeting with Daniel and Dalai last week, and it was super nice. But yeah, this is the lab projects, one of those projects that they are to experiment. Are you excited to work on a lab project? Because
yeah, there might be something that I might propose to Francesco actually. Yeah, related to like grease pencil, of course, but it's more of a research type project that fits more into the Blender Lab rather than like an actual project where you have to do the implementation and get it into a release as soon as possible, basically. So yeah.
Nice. Also looking forward to it. But yeah, Blender clay pencil, it could become a Blender Lab. Just to be able to iterate on it without the pressure that it has to go into the next Blender release or a Blender release. But yeah, Blender Lab. And then the ongoing projects. There is Eevee feature parity, grease pencil developments, fails, which we're going to talk about today, and cycles projects. And more. And this is gonna stay as is, but there might be news coming related to the release cycle update, so stay tuned. Either you're gonna have one more release or one less release, just in a cycle, just to give
Not this year, but
no, it's 2027.
Yeah.
But still, as a user, it doesn't have that much of an impact.
Yeah.
And that's it. Let's see what's new in Blender today. Although I have this long list that I go alphabetically, it's just not to waste your time. I'm gonna, unless you want to go through 522 commits, and no, maybe we can skip. So I usually go alphabetically. So let's jump to grease pencil, and then I'm gonna go back to cover everything else. So grease pencil, F G. I'm still learning the alphabet. G, GNU, GPU, spoilers. There you go. All right. So zooming in changes the position. Let's see.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Sorry. I know if people are watching this on a TV or something, it's like a very jarring to scroll so much. So sorry about that. All right. So we have 4 things that I wanted to mention, but the first one and the biggest one you can talk about better in detail. New fill workflow. What does it mean?
So this is a pretty big commit. Let's see if it's gonna load here, and I can like even the commit message is like a whole book of
that's
changes.
What little Bible. Okay.
Yeah. It ended up being one commit because there's a lot of like intertwined changes that just need to land together so that it's not like in a broken state in between in main. But yeah, so basically in 5.1, the way fills and also the stroke is handled for Grease Pencil changed. In 5.0, we had materials, and in the material you had these toggles to toggle fills on and off, and also the stroke. In 5.1, those are now attributes. So the fill is part of the actual geometry, and that changes, of course, a lot how you work with that. Hopefully, though, this is the whole idea. It's going to be a lot more intuitive, and yeah, just faster. There's some technical reasons why this is good as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just showing
Yes.
Blender 5 here. This is what you mean. Surface materials have stroke and fill.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
checkbox.
Yeah.
And now these guys are attributes.
Yeah.
So they can be randomly placed in some parts of the stroke.
No, but we can show it like what this looks like in the new version, and
All right.
I can compare the two.
Okay. So it is big enough? Yes. All yours.
Or maybe let's increase
The UI size.
yeah, because
In the meantime, thank you, Vivian, for this beautiful walking cheese demo file.
yeah. So this was created by one of our artists at the Blender studio. She was experimenting with the branch and helped me debug it and fix issues and things like that. So this is the animation she created, so you can just play it. It's just a cute little character.
Yes.
Oh, it's too loud.
Yeah, I just heard that.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So yeah, and so the thing that she was trying out is the holes. So not only did fills change, like one thing you can see here in the material now is that you don't have these checkboxes anymore. You just have material settings, as you do with like mesh materials, for example. Fills can now also have holes. So these are like geometric holes. If I like, you know, if you were to, let's see if I can.
Actual geometry.
Yeah, so if I place something like behind this, you know, I can like look through the character because there's like actual geometric holes. There were already ways of creating this effect in Grease Pencil, but you had to use like special materials with a holdout. And this is now just geometry. So if you like go into if you go into edit mode,
So you can sculpt even those holes and.
you can even sculpt them. Yeah.
Cool.
So if you just go to sculpt mode and grab this, you know,
Mm.
you can just start. Yeah. So they are just normal strokes. We can look at this here. And actually in stroke selection mode, when you select a fill now, it selects everything with the holes even. So it's like
Oh, even.
one shape.
Okay. What you would expect, right? It's like having a hole in a mesh, no?
Yeah, like if you imagine like you had some text maybe and you had like the character A and it has a hole in it.
Yeah.
You just select the character, it selects everything, and if you want to move it, then you don't have to like separately move the hole and the outline or the outer boundary. You can still do this, of course, like if I go into point selection, and I can still do this, right? And you
Oh.
get this weird effect.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, like the old, like what you would expect with curves that are.
Yeah, like in other graphics.
Yeah. Or
in
curves, even just the regular Blender curves.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, like any vector graphic basically works kind of.
Make a hole.
Like a hole.
How do you make a hole?
Okay, so let's say I wanted to add one here, right? So let's draw a new one. See, we go here and we add one here. I don't know which layer I'm on, so let's double check here.
Legs. Oh, doesn't say it in the info. That's an info.
So let's
Oh, you press the close button.
I do.
It closed.
Did it crash?
It crashed. Look at all the pop-ups. I mean, this is alpha software, so
Can't you draw?
what did you do? Just
draw.
Just draw. Okay. Oh, in a different layer.
Oh no, it's because I had shift. I think I accidentally pressed something else.
The close button.
Did I really play? Okay.
Yeah, it crashed. The one in the back is Blender 5.
Okay.
So
Let's
you're
see.
drawing what now?
So here we have like this. Let's just get rid of this. And here I just made like a drawing.
Yeah.
So I select this and then I shift select all of this. And actually, let's do a Control L. Select all the holes as well. And then we do, I think it's Shift J. Ooh.
Just go back to the corner. There.
Ah, okay. Sorry. But it's also in the menu. So you go to Stroke and it's Join Fills. And then you have a hole there.
Nice. Isn't it in right click also?
It's also in right click.
Right
Yeah,
click,
I
yeah.
think.
So you can join. No, it's not. Could be.
Wait, this is point selection.
Vertex. No, it's not.
It's not in this menu. I mean, yeah, it could
be, no? It's something that you would do often.
Yeah.
I'll probably use a shortcut. Shift J, you said?
Well, actually, this is sort of like the manual approach of creating holes.
Oh, what is
Because
the
so
non-manual?
okay.
Auto. No.
I have to go back a bit. So in 5.1, we have now ways of creating holes. The materials have changed. So now you have to, if you want to draw fills, you use this button here now.
Oh. So what's the magic button that you're pressing?
Something is crashing it.
Yeah, and I even compiled just now, so I'm getting the latest bugs.
You're getting the latest bugs.
The latest bug, yeah.
Exactly, but this is how you would create a fill now. You would just
okay, this is going back to, instead of having a checkbox, you just basically, as part of the stroke, you decide, I want a stroke, I want just a fill, I want both.
Exactly.
Okay, nice.
And we can have holes and fills, but like this manually creating holes is not going to be the workflow that 2D artists are going to want, right? The next obvious step is that we have tools to automatically create holes, like a Boolean eraser, you know, like just being able to draw a hole into your fill, just with an eraser tool. But so yeah, this is like 5.1 is the first step in that direction, to be able to represent holes and have like a clean workflow around them. And so the join fills is just like a manual way of managing holes, but it's not going to be the final solution how people are going to work. So there's just like one iteration in that direction.
So it's a combination of two things. So workflow wise, the difference with 5.0 is just this. You have this here. It'd be nice to have icons for this.
That would be good.
Yeah. But then also, and the new thing is holes, basically.
Yes.
And I heard that this also applies to other holes generated via other ways.
Like geometry nodes.
Yes, like nodes of geometry that generate.
Yes. So the cool thing is that holes are just attributes. So for every like technical artist out there, you can just manage holes and even the stroke, like showing the stroke on a curve as just part of attributes. Yeah, I think it's mentioned.
Is it mentioned here?
So those are the two new attributes.
Hide stroke and fill ID.
Yeah, so hide stroke, obviously if you set that, it will just hide the stroke part of the curve. And the fill ID is a group ID. So every curve that's part of the same fill, including the holes, has the same ID, and then it's triangulated together. And if you set it to 0, it's not filled. That's all the technical details, so it's very straightforward.
The SVG importer can create holes now.
Yeah, and we also just landed a few minutes ago. I don't know if it's in here as well, but exporting.
Exporting SVG.
Exporting SVG with holes. Yes.
Damn, holes everywhere.
Yeah.
Nice. And then there is a new separate fields operator, select field, join fields, all the fields.
Yeah, so those are like the manual operators to manage fills, basically.
Oh, nice. You can delete only the strokes or only the fields.
Yeah, that's actually quite nice quality of life improvements.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and select by stroke type is another one. People have requested to be able to just select all the fills or just everything that has a stroke, which is really handy because if you're like separating out fills into layers, right? You just want to select all the fills, move them to a different layer. So
now you can. That's so nice, so handy. Yeah. So I could do what is it, like select? Why do people hide the menus? We have so much space for the menus. select by stroke type, and then I can do, okay, select all the fields. I had everything selected. So I can do select all the strokes and then move them to a new layer.
Yeah.
Nice, which now has a search in Blender 5.1. Hey, nice. So if you have too many, you can now search.
I think this was one of the ones on the list as well. The move to layer search.
It was one of the few items. Yeah. So we can move forward
Yeah.
now with this. This is so cool. Then render to viewport compositor combined pass. Now grease pencil pass in combined.
Yes. So yeah, just recently Omar was working on this. Omar is also trying to add the depth pass for grease pencil. So you can do like actual global depth compositing with grease pencil.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's working on that as well.
Wow.
But yeah, this is also part of that.
Wow. So yeah, the black and white pass with it gets
Yep.
wider with it. Wow, that's so nice. Wow. Damn. And then a few Python stuff here: layer group children and root nodes Python API, which is part of for another PR,
Yeah.
right? That is still
There's another ongoing PR that uses this. Yeah.
that uses this. And last but not least, Casey added the grease pencil panel attributes panel to the curve panel. This adds fill opacity, start caps, end caps, softness, hue scale, and aspect ratio controls.
I think he has a screenshot there.
Even look at that.
Yeah, so this is really useful in edit mode. You can just directly edit those attributes from the panel.
From the sidebar.
Yeah, this is often useful. Like sometimes people don't notice that their fill opacity is set to 0 and they don't have a quick way to change it. And now you can just see it there. Just set it to 1 again.
Nice. I don't know if we do this. We usually put the label here and it is empty, no?
Yeah, maybe.
I think well.
I think this was how it is for hair curves as well.
Okay, never mind then, because it was probably done by hands. So it's probably like that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So much for grease pencil.
Yeah.
And well, there's also geometry nodes work, which in a way also affects grease pencil as well.
Yeah.
There is something related with the
Ooh, yes.
base thing and refactor detect holes functions. There are holes everywhere. This is a refactor by Campbell, and then
I think Campbell may have been
yeah.
looking into this also because of some grease pencil work.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is another thing. So right now, the holes in grease pencil are based on the even-odd filling rule. So basically, you can have like a hole inside a hole, etc. But yeah, every time you cross a boundary, for every even boundary, it's a hole, and then once it goes to odd again, it's filled in again, which sometimes is not what you want. So there's also the non-zero rule, which is just like filling everything in that's inside the shape. So there might be a way to also add this to grease pencil that you can choose between even odd filling and non-zero filling.
Wow.
So yeah, there's already like somebody's already looking into that.
Nice. It's Hans actually in the chat and said this stuff is related to text actually.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch
curve
of stuff.
Text, grease pencil, it's all one family, no?
Yeah. Like it's everything curve related.
Everything
right?
curves, yeah.
This is really useful to have these options in many places. But yeah, text is one of them.
Wow. So cool. And then a bunch of work. I didn't know what Campbell wrote this like forever ago.
Yeah, he wrote the polyfill.
Yeah, a long time ago. I was digging some commits from like 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's so nice. And actually, this fixes an issue also super old, no?
I don't know.
I think he mentioned something.
Yeah.
That there were some of these fixes issues from like 12 years ago.
From 12 years ago.
Yeah, like since forever because
he finally got to it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
is
really
it
awesome.
mentioned? No, I think I already checked. But yeah. Anyway, this is it for grease pencil. You're welcome to stay if you want.
Yeah, I have
to
other things to do.
catch up with all the other changes. We still have 518 changes to see. So let's go full screen again. Thank you once again for dropping by. I do this every other week on Tuesdays at 5. So welcome to drop by.
Thank you. See you guys. Bye bye.
Happy Grispanseling. Okay, well, isn't it nice to have guests? I quite like it, and I think community also likes it. It makes it a bit more conversational, and it's time to continue what is new. So let's go in order. So we're gonna start with A for animation. There's a new F-curve modifier. It's so cool. So in the graph editor, you can add modifiers to the curves. There is one modifier for generating for cycles, right? For generating a cycle, or even making an actual built-in function. There is an operator to smooth out the curves, but there was no modifier, so no way to smooth curves in a non-destructive way until now, until Ethan Porcaro worked on it. There is this smooth modifier that has a factor, some options, and the usual things. There's a lot of space in between, and so cool. It would be nice to have icons for this at some point, for all the modifiers, just to unify it in with the VSE and other modifiers. So nice. So thank you, Ethan. This is very welcome. There is another operator was added to swap action on multiple data blocks. This is a quality of life improvement that makes it possible to swap one action with another. This is very welcome in productions. So the operator is called replace action. Next. A for asset. Oh, this is also another thing that the community has been asking for the longest time. There is a new option to disable asset libraries in the preferences. So you can, instead of, like, the only way to not have a asset library exposed was to delete it. It was so bad. And now you can actually toggle it on and off. There is a checkbox, which for some reason is on the left side. I think it should be on the right side to be consistent with other parts. But yeah, you can now disable it. Awesome. Let's see. Which it comes in pretty handy with the upcoming online asset libraries. Okay. Maybe factor should be a slider. That's a good point, Hans. I didn't see that one. But yeah, factors are always slider and 0 to 1. You can edit to make it go more, but yeah. Next. Then we continue. Look at Hans has been busy with all the attribute stuff. Hans, I'm not gonna mention this because I think it's very under the hood. I couldn't find any like performance mentioned or anything that I should have mentioned. So if I miss something, let me know. Let's continue. A bunch of things building because there is a whole bunch of new libraries in Blender 5.1. Which, by the way, I didn't mention Blender 5.1 goes beta tomorrow. There's already a splash that is still a surprise, but you will like it. It has a smile. It makes you want to open Blender more often even. Let's see. So the changes related to attributes, Hans can confirm that it's boring, but just less memory sometimes. I will take that any day. Less memory. All right, bunch of cleanups. Yep, loads of cleaning. Blender is squeaky clean. And here we have some new features. This is a feature that it opens up possibilities. So this is more like a spoiler alert. Compositor, says Omar Emara. Support single value only types in pixel operations. What does it mean? Well, it adds support for handling single value only types pixels in pixel operations. This only concerns string types and opens the possibility to having string manipulation nodes in the compositor. This is something many people were asking for. And also, this could open possibilities, am I right, in the shading editor? Just having a node or just having the possibility for this to work in the node setting, this would be so cool. I hope it does. But still, the compositor is still great to have. There are new nodes in town, new familiar nodes. Boolean, integer, and vector input nodes have been added to the compositor, and there is not even a message in the PR because you know them, you are familiar with them. Boolean, integer, and vector. The next change is a removal. Just from the UI, the viewer region toggle in the compositor has been removed, but it wasn't working apparently since Blender 4.4. So yeah, like a year, and nobody seems to miss it actually, because it didn't even close any bug reports, and it didn't work. And if nobody misses it, then probably not really needed. And it's not supported with the new compositor, so maybe not worth fixing it. It's basically like border region for the compositor. Next, let's jump into curves. Let's see for curves. There is lasso, box, and circle selection operations in curve sculpt mode, having added by Nasir Galimov. Thank you, Nasir. And the same shortcuts, I think, B and C for circle select. So nice. Then, oh no, this is the one I wanted to mention when Folk was here. The CDT based field with separate solver and rule settings for curves, which closes a bug report that starts with the number 42,000. So you can imagine that it's really old. We're in 150 or so thousand. This is a 12-year-old bug report that has been fixed. Imagine, Pistol, you're probably now in a whole completely different life. Maybe you have kids, you have grown up, you are retired. I don't know, who knows, right? And your bug has been fixed. So cool. Nice. Yeah, so basically this allows to have some crazy well, what we've seen before, like curves actually having nice being able to close holes much more nicely. It's even faster, no, slower, wait, with text CDT. It's about 3.15 times slower, but I'll take slowness for precision, especially if it's an option. I don't think it's an option. No, it is an option here, I think. Yes, because it says support. It doesn't say with a separate solver. It doesn't say replace. Next, we have cycles. There is 5 to 10% improvement in speed when rendering various benchmark scenes. So I think it's all over the board, except Linux using Intel Arc A750. That's very precise. It's the one model of graphics card on Linux. Unfortunately, there is an issue with performance there that will be fixed separately. It's planned to be fixed separately. But yeah, everyone else gets a 5 to 10% faster rendering with cycles just by writing 734 lines of code. Thank you, Brecht. And removing 400. So cool. Nice. Then this is just a cosmetic change that is a regression from the previous Blender, where I don't know if someone cares about this, but yeah, people care about this enough to actually make a bug report that the normal and albedo passes in the render layers were flipped, were in the different they were flipped compared to how they were before, which means the denoiser now had it like crossed. So it's a cosmetic thing. It also makes it a bit more noisy, but it's awesome that people are reporting these kind of bug reports. And even more so, when you look at the fix, it takes some time, right? It's not just swapping the code here, swapping the position of this, you actually have to do versioning. You have to write some code to swap the link sockets. And yeah, just a reminder to let's try to keep an eye on this sorting of sockets next time. I completely missed it myself. Next. That's it with cycles. Actually, we have dependencies, documents, EV changes, nothing too big. Then extensions. This change by Nick Alberelli makes it so the tags are limited to visible repositories in the popover. So instead of showing all the tags in the planet, they're now limited per repository. So super nice. Next, bunch of fixes. So many fixes because yeah, we are approaching beta, and you'll see even more fixes soon. I wonder if there's things that have been added to Blender in the last, because the way I do this, that I get the list of commits, I run a script and it checks from noon. From noon the last time I sent the commits to noon today. So if anything was committed after that, it's not on this list. And I wonder if people are committing things because beta is tomorrow. So you still have some time to squeeze in some changes. Let's continue. Ghost, remove CAPI. That was a big one too, but no impact for the users. GPU changes, and here we arrive to geometry nodes. There are many new nodes, such as cube grid topology node. Adds the cube grid topology. The output is a Boolean grid that is dense, intended to use for usage with the fill to grid node to create arbitrary grids without the need for the volume cube or get name grid attributes. So this is how it looks. I'm so behind with geometry nodes. Like there's been so many things that have been added that it feels like dreadful to try to learn new things. Grid, dilate, erode. Grid, dilate, and erode is a new new node, or there's actually two new nodes that exposes the OpenVDV operations as a single. It's one node. Oh, nice. So it's OpenVDV. So it's actually using a library exposed through a node. So should be grid dilate and erode. Nice. How does it know when to dilate and when to? Let's see. Open. Let's see some developer art here. And play. So there's a texture that is pass. Ooh, wow. That's dilating. That didn't sound right. Ooh. That's cool. Wow, nice. Neat. Okay, thank you, Brady, for these new nodes. And there's even more by Brady. This one is called grid mean and median nodes. This another also function that is exposed via the OpenVDV library for regular grids. It's a grid median, grid mean, super simple and to the point. Another node that I almost missed because the title was it didn't include geometry nodes or nodes at all. It's called matrix SVD. Yeah, singular value decomposition. For the 3x3 part of matrix, of a matrix. Beyond my smooth brain, but awesome. Thank you, Lucas, for this addition. And we need more artists involved here. It's like, hey, look at what the amazing thing I did with your new node developer. Thank you. And the developer will say, awesome, can I use this in the release notes? Yay. And then you have happy Pablo, happy community, happy everyone. Next, experimental support. Well, this is in main, but it's experimental. It's a added support for bundles inside geometries. Okay, it's a setting that I guess I'm gonna find in here under experimental. And again, this was added to 5.1, however, during the 5.1 cycle, but it's under experimental. So this experimental tab doesn't show up when you are using a release. However, I wonder what happens, maybe Hans knows, what happens if I enable, say, geometry nodes lists and bundle in geometry, these new changes. And then I add the nodes, and then I switch, and I save my blend file, and then I open 5.1 release that doesn't have this setting, but the nodes are already there. I guess they will work, no? That would be a workaround. You just get a development version, enable the setting, go in and add the nodes. Okay, next. Remove list type. Oh, some changes by Hans actually. This one is remove list type restriction. And then change list to field list. Okay, so there is some changes to lists, which are experimental also, but there are changes. Remove list type description, allow retrieving values from non-fields list. Nice. The list node is now field to list, and it should functionality remains the same. The node remains the same. It's just now field to list. Nice. Again, it's experimental. Use at your own risks. The spreadsheet now supports minimum voxel attributes from grids. Okay, nice. So let's see if we can. Nice, thanks for the video, Brady. So there, minimal. Wow, the spreadsheet looks fancy nowadays. What's so much space? I guess it's you have to allocate some space, right? It's not dynamic between these items. Still, super nice. Like an actual spreadsheet is coming. Excel. Next, another change by Brady. Limit search to transform sockets for bone info node. So when using search, so drag to search, when you drag a socket, and Blender will now filter the sockets for bone info node. So I think before it didn't, bone info, it would just connect. it would be very helpful, but now it should. Bone info will only show you the compatible sockets. Nice. So it always works. What you see is what you get. Next. One change by Jan Hendrik Mueller. Lower mixed color search priority. More tweaks to searching. So when searching color mix modes that are not commonly used in geometry nodes, now they're going to be placed later. So it should be more user-friendly in the way you add it. Nice. And it's only for geometry nodes, apparently. It's not for shader nodes. Makes sense. Nice, thank you, Jan. Let's move into, I already mentioned Grease Pencil. There's image buffer stuff. More work. There's so much work being done for the asset, for the online asset. It's just, I want it now. And some of this, a lot of this is actually gonna make it into 5.1, as in the code itself will be in 5.1, but as experimental as far as I know. Let's see. Image. Let's eye for image. Draw images with display offset. Oh, nice. We had some changes related to this in the previous episodes. This time, it's, well, actually it shows the display offset when viewing an image, which is very handy because there was no indicator before. OpenEMSH.io is now used when loading and saving WebP format, which is great because it makes Blender a bit lighter. We don't use it. Blender had its own functions to save and open WebP format, but that is included in the OpenEMSH.io library that Blender comes with, so it's good to see everything more integrated. Just a heads up, if you see any issues with your WebP files, maybe that's why. And another contribution by community developer Carlo Andreacchio made it so rendering JPEG 2000 files are now 2 to 5 times faster. So cool. So the JP2 files are now going to encode up to 5 times faster for an HD file, an Ultra HD around 3 times, and a 4K image almost 3 times as well, 2 to 3 times. So cool. Awesome. Thank you, Carlo, Omar, and Jesse. Let's continue with M4. We have more changes by Hans related to storage, attributes, the winter of code quality. Okay, wow, this is awesome. And a bit sad. M4 modeling. Why it's a bit sad? Because a trainer, artist, now turned developer, Jonathan Lample added something that was really missed, which is the limit boundary when selecting loops. So now when you select a loop, you can limit it to be, I guess it's gonna use the similar when you use selection, right? It's gonna be maybe scene corners, yes. So this is the selection, normal selection, and now you can limit it to inner corners, outer corners, and end gones. Okay, that's nice. I thought it was gonna be seam or material or that kind of the limits. Still, I like it because this was impossible to do before. I thought it was some like math limitations. That's so nice. Wow. So wait, is it you can select multiples? That should be checkboxes, I think, no? Because right now it looks like it looks like a radio button, but one of those weird radio buttons that you can multi-select many options. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Support redo for edge loop ring selection. So related to the change that I mentioned before, I think. No, this just adds redo for edge loop ring selection. Did you know we didn't have redo for that? And the other change by Campbell is related to support delimiters. So the changes that Jonathan Lample did for edge ring and face loop selection. Nice. Looking forward to what to see Jonathan Lample actually talking about the new features in Blender 5.1 and talking about his features. That's so cool. What a flex. Nice. Cool. All right, next N4 nodes. Wow. Okay. Well, I need you to sit down because not every day we get such features. The node editor now supports cut and paste. Yeah, sometimes those features, you know, they are like nobody wonders. Like, yeah, you can copy paste nodes. Since the last episode, you can also copy paste nodes between two Blender sessions. That's amazing. But now you can cut and paste, which was basically the same as dissolve, like a Control X, but adding it to the clipboard, basically, no? Yeah, so Control X now dissolves and also copies the selected nodes into the clipboard, such as Control X and Control V, or Command X and Command V, cuts and pastes nodes. Crazy. We live in the future. Next, swap nodes when copy pasting them. No, snap them. So when you copy and paste nodes, getting a lot of love for copy pasting. Apparently, snapping was not a thing. You would, when you paste things, it would let you place them without snapping. Cool. Nice. Quality of life. Also, it's gonna tell you how many nodes you have been copied over, and small thing. But I like it that it was mentioned in the PR that it's not very common from a standpoint, UI standpoint. It's not very common. I don't know any other software that does this, that tells you, hey, I copied 6 nodes. 8 nodes, whatever. But you know, I like it when Blender stands out for even small things like that. It's useful. Node Wrangler, only count enabled sockets when initializing the lazy connect menu. This is an improvement to the Node Wrangler add-on, the lazy connect, the one that shows you a menu that you can see the available sockets. When you don't want to go and be very precise into that one socket, you can have a menu and it would show you way too many outputs. Even that didn't even make any sense, and now they do. So thank you, Irex. Next, add vector math round mode. Oop. Ashley Rucklis added a new mode to the vector math. Yeah, no description and a smiley. It's fine, you get a pass, Ashley. It's possible to do this with add 0.5 and floor nodes, but it's much nicer having a single node for this. It's a new node? A whole new node? Or it's just a method? No, it's not a new node. Otherwise you would see like the whole thing. No, it's not a new node. Okay. Or is it? It is? No, it's not. This is the same shader. I'm confused with it. It's not a new node. Otherwise it would be a much bigger commit with all the placeholder stuff. Next, preserve bundle sockets when using. Oh, nice! Quackaroni keeps improving this node, the swap node operator, and it will now preserve the bundle sockets that you're using. So let's see this in big, because not only he made the feature but also a video. So swapping will preserve whatever was connected there. Well, the sockets basically. So when you swap it for something completely different, that's so cool. Nice. Look at how many socket types we have nowadays. Crazy. We are running out of colors for sockets. Next, test preserve data blocks one day. Also, this is so nice. The material object. Basically, all the data block sockets that you would expect, or inputs that you would expect, are now preserved when swapping nodes. So if you swap an image for an environment texture, a collection info for collection object or object info, then whatever you had selected there as an object or a collection or an image, it will be preserved. And the same for materials. So nice. Quality of life. I can see my life quality improving thanks to Quackaroni. Let's see. That's it for nodes. Let's switch to O for OpenEXR. Brecht added support for HTJ2K encoding. This is a new lossless encoding in OpenEXR 3.4 based on high throughput JPEG 2000. It produces somewhat smaller files than other lossless compression methods, but is very new and not widely supported yet by other software. In fact, OpenEXR 3.4 isn't that, what is it in the VFX platform? EXR, OpenEXR. Yeah, wow. So it is really from the latest, from this year's VFX platform recommendation. So nice. The other day I saw another like a reel of another software, and one of the highlights of the new version is that they aligned with the VFX platform from 2023, which again, for a bigger software, production software, it makes sense to be maybe a bit behind, but it's crazy that Blender tries to keep up with the latest always, and while other software maybe is just a bit more loose on that. I hope it helps, and you can use any Blender for as long as you want. So it makes sense to be to take advantage of that and move as soon as possible. Let's see. Oh, nice. A little quality of life improvement also by EDX. Outliner, draw hierarchy bones for bone tree. Ever noticed how in the past, before, the bones in the outliner were not connected. They didn't have like a hierarchy line to anything. And now they do. Now they have this dash line, which is used usually for communicating the relation between a parent and children. So it kind of makes sense for it to be dashed in that sense, instead of just the regular line that is used for objects, collections, and so forth. So super nice, small little trick that many people seem happy about. Awesome, thank you, Edex. O for overlay. Nice, Miguel Pozo added X-ray support and depth occlusion support for curves in edit mode. I don't think there is a picture, no, but it fixes the past names and adds depth testing to curve handles and X-ray. Nice. Thank you, Miguel. Let's move to P for Python. Yeah, there is new. There are new ways to access if which window is playing. Find the playing window and scene. So this is a way to access it. Window manager.windows.find playing. That's cool. New method. Let's continue. Refactor, release, and there is one small change in sculpting. Key binding. Add keybind for quick mask erase toggle. Which key binding is that? So this commit simply extends. Well, it is now possible to define a keymap entry that allows both inversion and specific brush toggles with the various paint stroke operators. This commit simply extends this to that along with holding Alt to mask a region, a user now can hold Alt and Control to remove said mask. Super nice. Thank you, Sean. Next. There's some shape keys, some spreadsheet, bunch of tests, and let's talk about UNI in the user interface change. Quality of life. Have you ever noticed that the tooltips in Blender were kind of moving along with the mouse? So if you had let's see, if you had a tooltip, then you move, the tooltip will follow. So you basically are carrying the tooltip with you. And it's not like it's super smooth like in some other software that it just follows the mouse cursor. It's just showing and then appearing again. So it's a bit annoying. That has been fixed. So now the tooltip shows up once, and then when you move the mouse, it just stays there. It's just a bit more sane. So thank you, Harley. Next, another change by Nick related to extensions, similar to what I mentioned before, no? So following Blender's design, the user should be able to still edit the elements inside the filter popover. Oh yeah, I think they were marked as disabled instead of active, which makes sense. Awesome, Nick. Thank you. This feature is really old. In Blender 2.7, well, I'm not going to switch, but in Blender 2.7, when you would go in a node group, inside a node group in the node editor, the background will become slightly more green. And then you go into another node group and a bit more green. And then another node group and the background even more green. There was a limit of 3 levels or so. That, and it was semi-transparent even, the background. So it was a bit hard to read. It was cool though, you could be inside of a node, but it was a bit too noisy. So in 2.8, we removed that function. We made it fully opaque, and instead the background will become slightly lighter, but that's it, slightly lighter. So you could tell at a glance, but this is hard to theme. If you have a light background, it wouldn't become lighter, and it just didn't look that right. So this feature has been removed, and now it always shows the same color. So this is how it used to be. Like you can see the original color is this gray, and when inside a group it was slightly lighter, but now it just stays the same. So yeah, I think in the later years there has been improvements to the breadcrumbs, and there are even more changes that are coming to the breadcrumbs improvements. So I think this is way more clear to see the indicator that we are in a group or not. Next, curve statistics have been improved. Oh, nice. By Pratik. I remember this PR from a while ago. That it was not even working at all. So this is how it looked in the past. You have a curve, and then it will show you vertices and objects selected. And now in edit mode, it's going to actually tell you, hey, there is a points, not vertices, points, and curves. How many, well, curves, but I think in geometry nodes they were called splines. But it makes sense. I think in the future it's gonna be called curves. Next, thank you, Pratik. Philip made a small change that makes it more clear that you cannot use render result and viewer nodes images. They cannot be packed. So apparently there are some reports, people confused about this. And now Blender is a bit nicer and tells you why. This change by Harley makes it so I thought it was added, okay, 2 weeks ago, yeah. Time flies. So maybe this was added on the same day that I did the last live stream, I think, because this to me was a bit old, but it's still nice. So the quad view in Blender 5, or let's see, Blender 5, if I'm here in Blender, if I go to the quad view, so Control Alt Q, I will have 4 times, I think I mentioned this in the last live stream. Sorry. Didn't I? That is now much cleaner. The information is not repeated. Sorry. I should mute myself. This is very unprofessional. I'm just whatever sick. Today was -11, -12 degrees Celsius in Amsterdam. So yeah, Harley made it super simple with simple access and quad view when made it work. Super clean. Oh, this change. I don't know if you're here. There was Emmy, was someone requested it free in the community, and this is something that was asked many times. And this is something that I would like to catalog as maybe like group many of these features into a how to improve Blender for production or for big productions or to handle large files, right? You can handle, I don't know, you can work on improving handling more polygons, more geometry, but also in how to display the data blocks of your file and how they are connected to each other, which are the users for a specific data block. That would be awesome to have. But there is also this change, for example, which is use template ID search when for remap users. The remap users, I can show you, I made a design task. The remap user setting was a bit less than ideal. So if you don't know what it is, it's a option that is can be found in a menu, the context menu of the outliner. You go to ID data, remap users. This lets you change one user for another. So say in this case, the geostorm body object is the user of this, and you can change it to be something else. However, you can see the issue here that this was a regular drop-down menu that would hold every, in this case, every object, every data block compatible with this in the blend file, making it impossible in large production, like large files. And the proposal was to, yeah, even worse when you couldn't fit in the scene, so you have to scroll, and this is as fast as you can scroll. It was so bad. So the proposal was to simply change it for a search. Simply is a stretch here. Apparently there were so many other constraints inside under the hood that there was a reason why it wasn't made this way. But yeah, Guillermo went ahead, made it, and now everybody can benefit from this. This is amazing. And again, I would like to maybe catalog this as Blender improving working with large amounts of data. And I think it's a topic that we should, like the same way that Blender should improve animation and world building and making, creating assets. This is also something like to keep an eye on and make sure that when you have thousands of objects, that is Blender still useful and nifty. Let's see. Oh, wow, nice. Quality of life improvement thanks to 1P2D. This change adds a confirmation dialog to the revert to saved preferences operator. So in the past, you could basically ruin your settings if you click on revert saved, because this pop-up didn't exist. You could click by mistake and then your preferences would be reverted. Not great. So this great user from the community was annoyed by this and then took the problem and made it personal, made a bug PR and fixed it. And it's actually, the PR is not that large actually. So if you happen to run into these things, it's a good inspiration. Look at it, it even fits here in the screen, right? You have this dialog, so you basically change the confirmation function for an invoke, which is like a pop-up, and that's it. Change the context of the operator. Bam, done. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Next. Oh, nice. Jonas made it so the text in the header, remember 4.5, the text when editing was aligned to the left of when transforming things. And Blender 5, it was moved to the center, so it's actually closer to the action. But can you see that sometimes it jumps a bit much? It used to be much worse actually. This is already better than what it used to be. So this jumping is now reduced because in Blender 5.1 the values over there are now a bit more stable, a lot more stable actually. Look at this. They just never jump. So nice. Can you see it? Yes, you can. Look at that. So soft. If I hold shift, I see more values, and then this jump is because I'm holding shift. So cool. Blender's UI keeps improving. Let's see what other, like if I use bevel, would also, so nice. So stable, and then I add some segments. Blender UI doesn't jump. Nice. Well, only when I do 2 digits. Awesome. Thank you, Jonas, for working on this. Next, there's a new icon for cloud storage drive on Windows platform. So small thing, yes, there is a new icon for this. There is a new USB icon as well. Nice. Google Drive has the internet icon. Next, armature bones can now be sorted alphabetically in the outliner. No way. That's cool. So yeah, now we need custom sorting, and we're done. Next, this was by Philip, the previous one by Harley. Next, this one by Pratik. Display ID counts when dragging multiple objects. Nice. Quality of life, you're dragging many objects, and Blender will now show you the counts, how many objects you have selected. So before it would just say objects, and now it says 2 objects. Nice. We need to fix this thing. It's a bit all over the place, and this doesn't have a backdrop, but this has a backdrop. We need to do a pass at some point. And well, small change that I did myself, part of because I was working on another PR to improve the panel for nodes. Am I gonna be able to get it in before? No, I'm not gonna give it. I didn't get any confirmations for this. I made another PR to improve the panel, the node panel, slightly. Not too big, but basically from this that you have the color always collapsed, and these icons that they don't do anything for this, which exposes the color here, so you can actually just enable and use it immediately. Adds placeholders and exposes a few options that were not exposed anywhere, like show options and mute. And the change that I did actually is unrelated to this in this BR. The change is very small. So before we had warning propagation all, not really propagation, but propa, warning propa. It didn't fit in the default sidebar width. And now this has been renamed to propagate. And then instead of all, without all what? All messages. And they're also sorted by order, right? Like it's all errors and warnings, errors and none. Also, they have tooltips now. They didn't have tooltips. So did you know what all messages mean? Because errors and warnings, what other kind of messages? Info. That was the one type that is missing here. And that is included in the all. All right, next, let's see. We're almost done actually. V for VSE, Video Sequence Editor. Allow negative multiply values for speed control strip. Nice. This lets users reverse footage at varying speeds using the control. Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool. So you can now have -1. So you're basically going from whoop and then in reverse. That's so cool. Nice. That's something that you would expect it to or is one of those things that maybe you should just try. And like, I wonder if you can actually use negative values and boom. Awesome. So cool. Thank you, John. Oh, also nice. Preview, rotation, and scaling now support snapping. So when rotating an item, like an image, in the preview of the video sequence editor, now can snap to intervals. So you hold control and it snaps. So cool. I want to, was this added to the, it should be added to the header as well, no? And there is here. Nice. Oh no, this is snapping to borders. No, because it's not all the time. It's only on transform. So never mind. Makes sense. I don't think it would like to have it enabled all the time for the transforms. Next, solo strip preview. Only with shift left click on right click select. Oh, this was a request by Hjalti. He's a big right click select user. Not the website, but the actual selection setting in Blender to select with right click. And in this case, when you do shift left click to preview, it would preview the strip. No, when you just click on the, because I don't know if you remember, but in right click select is the best thing in the world because allows you to keep up preferences, right click select. So if in right click select, you can simply just click anywhere in your scene and you will always, if I don't have anything selected, you can seek with anywhere in the UI instead of just always going into this tiny place in the header. You can just click anywhere and it will work because selection is with right click and the rest you have left click available. So this is awesome. Anyway, the fix is it that when you're clicking on top of a strip, it will preview the strip underneath under the mouse. And that's not always what you want, right? Otherwise you have to find for an empty space in order to in order for this to work. And now this has been changed. When you click on top of a strip, it would still play the result of your entire edit, not the preview of this strip. For that behavior, you need to hold shift and then click, and it will preview whatever you have under the mouse. Now all my media here in this file is broken, so never mind. Look at, oh, so many. I don't know if this is expected. I guess it is. It looks a bit weird though. And they overlap even. Never mind. I didn't see anything. Let's move on. Vulkan. There is one change in Vulkan which removes. This is just removing a message in the UI, but it's cool because it's a limitation that it was one of these nodes when you enabled Vulkan that would say current limitation, low performance in VR, and this has been removed, which tells me that the performance is no longer an issue when using Vulkan in VR. Super nice. And speaking of VR or XR, here in XR we have two new changes. One, support local floor reference space. This is a specification of OpenEXR, local floor OpenEXR reference space. It provides a better main reference space for headsets that do not provide a base stage reference space, such as the Quest, the Oculus Meta Quest headset when used in stationary bound configuration. So cool, nice. It even fixes an issue. And the other change is an improvement to the vignette in XR. Apparently it was still visible even when disabled, and that has been fixed. So super nice, and a number of other issues. Nice. So thank you, Jonas, for all these changes to the XR. All right, that is all for today related to what's new in Blender. Let's see has anybody made the thread on right click select? Yes, nice. And let me edit this for you and add all the commits so people can look at what I been talking about. And bam, there. Privacy violation, editing someone else's posts. Let's zoom in and let's go to the bottom. How many comments are there? 4. Nice. Okay, let's go back to the bottom. Thanks, Fred. Hi, Pablo. It's been a while. I have no questions but suggestions. Blender should have even higher tiers for donations from the biggest companies. The biggest tier currently is corporate patron, which is 240,000 euro per year. I think there should be more 2 tiers, one for 500 and one for 1 million. There are a lot of companies that make that kind of money and there are now, so they can donate it as a tax write-off. That's a good suggestion. There's no bigger than that. Although Epic Games signed up for 1.2 million back in the day, which is patron for 4 years. So it's kind of the same equivalent. So people can sign up for many years. But yeah, I see what you mean. There are companies that could afford it. And yeah, thanks. Luffy says, hello Pablo, would it be possible to add an asset shelf for geometry nodes and shader nodes similar to the Compositor? Yes, it is. It is possible. However, you need would be nice to populate it with something first. So in Blender 5.2, there will be an online assets library, which will include some, for example, materials by default. That will make it so we can expose the asset shelf and it should work there. There is a way that you can enable the asset shelf in other places. There is a scripting template Python UI asset shelf that you basically, like, you can look at this. It's super simple. Like, it's in the if contact mode is object, then it will show the asset shelf in the view 3D. But I think you could enable this in other places. So we know that the asset shelf is not allowed, it's not enabled in object mode, but with this script it is. You have actually materials here, and it actually works. You can drag and drop materials onto your object. And why does Blender not allow this by default? Because there's no default assets yet. So for this, you need to use the asset browser for now. But yeah, there should be an asset shelf in this, and there will be in Blender 5.2. Thank you. Next and last. Sorry. Hello Pablo, says Surion. Do you think that it will be possible to have release builds with experimental new features enabled? Now I can either download regular LTS without experimental or daily with experimental. For those who want to play with Fire on projects, slightly less crashes and daily builds. I'm aware that it could lead to unwanted bug reports. That's the reason why we didn't add it for not finished features. So those releases could be only on builder side for more technically involved users, just as daily builds are. I know I could build my own release with experimental, but I'm too lazy for that. No, come on, you don't want to ship Blender stable, something that you call stable, with things that are not up to the level, right? There are some things like the extended asset browser, some prototype things that are been there for years. Look at this one, 60, and then the number is 68,000. We are now in 150 or 60,000. So some things are really old, they should stay there. I don't think we should enable experimental things on releases. That's why you can download the regular build or build it yourself. Come on, it's super easy to build. There is documentation about it, and you can have your own. What better than having your own 3D software or 2D software as well that you can use yourself forever. Okay, let's see. Let me refresh in case there is a new questions. Let's see. 1, 3, 4. Yep, there is. Oh, 3 more. Okay. Oof. Okay. Shouldn't have done that. No. Yolan Housekies says, hello, hola Pablo. The new Arrowhead sponsor brings this question to my mind. Blender has many features targeted at specific industries. Are there specific features that might be developed that are made with game developers in mind? For example, a game-oriented batch exporter. Gracias, Pablo. Love from Breda. Breda here in the Netherlands. If there are specific features that might be developed that are made with game developers in mind. I think it's a feature like this example that you give is also valid for non-game developers. So of course everything is every feature is welcome if it's we know that Blender is used a lot for game development, so it's they're welcome, but they shouldn't be targeted only as game only, right? They're pretty wide in use. But yeah, this kind of sponsorship helps with that. But also, if you have experience and you're a developer or you want to get into development, these things help that you bring them up, because the Blender Animation Studio down here is using, down here because here at the Blender HQ, it's mostly focused on animation for film, not so much for games. So there is this lack of it's not needed right away here, so it's maybe not in the radar. So it helps when the community comes up with these proposals on right click select, and this way we can make it, we can see it. We can make it more visible. Let's see. Do you know where I could ask it is a bug? Okay, no, next slide. Hello, Pablo. I hope this message finds you well. Thank you. Right now, if we duplicate a collection that has objects hidden in the viewport, those objects become visible again in the new duplicate collection. Do you know where I could ask if it is a bug or something else? Sounds like it's on purpose, because if you duplicate something and nothing changes, then was it really duplicate? Yes, probably it is. However, what does, maybe report it, because it needs investigation. Like, does the visibility flag get cleared and always visible, or is the parent collection visible? Because in that case, then it shouldn't. I think the visibility flags should be preserved on duplicate. So maybe it's a bug. And the last question, hi Pablo, when are they going to continue working on NPR? Well, that is one of the projects that we discussed today in the projects to look forward to in 2026. So if we look for non-photorealistic rendering, it's part of the topics to discuss this year. That's it. All right. Well, thanks everyone for staying until the end. I had a good time. Thanks, Folk, for dropping by. It's always nice to have a guest. So let me know if you would like to have even more guests. You know, sometimes I stream a bit late and people are already going home. It's almost 7 o'clock in the afternoon. So, but let me know. That's all for today. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. That will be on the 17th of February, which means Blender 5.1 is gonna be a full swing, getting ready to be out. 1 month. It's actually gonna be 1 month away of the actual release because it's on March 17. So 5.2 will be going on by then. You never get bored. Oh, Valentine's Blender, yes. Okay, happy Valentine, happy blending, and I will see you again the next time at the same time, the same place for more Blender today live. Sorry. I was looking for the button. All right, thank you, bye bye, see you. Waiting for the cue. Ciao, bye. Dankjewel.